and hear us. So, like I said, welcome back. My name is Alexis Davis. I'm the social media manager here at RSDSA. I'm joined by Jim Roach, Executive Vice President and Director of RSDSA, and our second session speaker this evening, Chef Mike Hargett. Mike is a professional chef, double transplant recipient, and a person with hemophilia who lives by the mantra that his conditions don't define him, he defines them. Growing up helping in the family owned deli, which sparked his lifelong passion for cooking, Mike trained at the Cordon Bleu College of Culinary Arts in Portland and completed an externship at the Ritz Carlton in Maui, which led to a variety of restaurant cooking opportunities. Currently, he works as a personal chef in the Pacific Northwest, but most recently, Mike has gained fame within the bleeding disorder and transplant communities as a cooking demonstrator. In online sessions, Mike shares his enthusiasm for cooking and his zest for life as he elevates ordinary household ingredients into savory, restaurant-enviable meals in these interactive events, like the one we're going to have tonight. This experience has inspired Mike to set up his own nonprofit where he helps people with chronic conditions overcome the challenges of planning and preparing meals on their own. As the world's first person with hemophilia to receive a heart and a kidney transplant, Mike's positive attitude, good human personality, passion for cooking, and perseverance embody his spirit of cooking with heart. And we are so happy to have Chef Mike with us this evening. As many of you know, we get so many questions about CRPS, which diets you should choose, which foods you should eat, which foods you should not eat. So hopefully you were able to get a hold of the recipe that Chef Mike is going to walk us through this evening. If you did not, we're going to put it into the chat. We hope some of you were able to cook along with us. But if you have any questions about, a low or anti-inflammatory diet, please put those in the chat, and I'll be sure to ask Chef Mike as he's cooking. But yeah, that's it. Jim, any comments before we hand it over?
I just want to say that we were lucky enough that Chef Mike did a recipe of avocado brownies for a Zoom along virtual pediatric camp, and the kids were just astounded how good it tasted.
Yes.
Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome. I just want to say thank you so much, Jim and RSDSA, for having me. I'm super stoked to be able to be here tonight. I'm in the Pacific Northwest. You know, like Alexis said, Pacific Northwest, you got to give a represent, West Coast to best coast. Well, whoop! Just got to shout out, hanging out on the West Coast. I know there's everybody from all over, which is fantastic. I know, COVID has been really hard, especially as a transplant and especially as an RDS patient. You have to be careful. You have to take the precautions. You have to do all the things, and you have to be able to protect yourself from other people. So Zoom has been a godsend for me because I get to reach other people that I couldn't see on a daily basis. So this has been my mental health therapy. So thank you so much for allowing me to be here today to do this cooking demo. So this is going to be a fun entertainment, kind of telling a little bit about my story, but also incorporating some funny dad jokes. I don't have any kids, but I have fur kids. I got 2 golden retriever puppies. So I think that qualifies me. They make me a little crazy, but at the end of the day, one of them is my therapy dog. And I know I was listening, I caught the end of that session about a therapy dog, and she helps me tremendously with my anxiety, with transplants and all my meds. So I'll be more than happy to talk about that. But also talking about cooking hacks that I've learned throughout my career and in culinary school to help you not spend so much time in your kitchen on your feet, kind of learning through what I've learned so you don't have to stand that many hours in the kitchen, to kind of make kitchen prep a lot easier and faster. So tonight, wherever you're at in this magical universe that we call Air Meet and Zoom and the computer and all this stuff, there's a glorious restaurant that's called Panera. Panera is this restaurant that's out there. It's kind of like a cafe. It's fast casual. It's upscale kind of, but it's good quality food. You can feel good when you leave it. It's not like when the place where you go in and you feel like, oh, I just have to go lay down after, or you have to like unbutton your pants and you have to wear your muumuu because you can't move. No, it's healthy. It's light. You don't have to lay down. You can go back to work. You can go back to school. And one of the things that this institution is known for is their cheddar broccoli soup. Now, I say that because of the fact that my fiance, I swear, will buy stock in Panera just for this soup. Now, if you can put in the chat how many people know of Panera, and then how many people have had the cheddar broccoli soup. Because there is a cult following. I know you know what I'm talking about. If you know this soup, if you know this restaurant, if you know there's other parts of the country that are called different restaurants of this name, but if you like cheddar broccoli soup, even if you haven't gone to this restaurant, put a shout up in the chat, because this is what we're going to be making. But hold up, I know you can't rush greatness. We're going to be swapping it up, and we're going to be making it even better. I know. How can you create greatness, Mike? I know, but listen up. We're going to be making a one-pot meal. I know, one pot. That's all like the rage these days. You know, kids are at soccer, they're doing their thing. Nobody has time. Time is so valuable these days that I don't want to keep you in the kitchen as long as you need to, because time is valuable. You need to be off hanging to soccer practice, time with your kids, time around the table, putting those cell phones down, getting the things that you need to do done. So everything that we're going to be done is all in one pot. No need to be, you boil the water, boil the noodles, no draining at all going to be cooked and served in one pot. I know. It's really, you see the halo on my head right here, this the light coming down? I know. So we're going to be taking it up a notch, and we're going to be taking it from not just a soup, but we're going to be adding in noodles. That's right. We're going to be taking this into a mac and cheese. So take that, Panera. Take that, your ordinary soup. We're going to be making not your Panera, not your ordinary Panera soup, mac and cheese, broccoli cheddar soup. That's right. We're making mac and cheese into soup. It's going to be ridiculous. And along the way, we're going to take this recipe and we're going to tweak it. We're going to take it with your recommendations. We're going to take it, and along with the recipe, a recipe is just a guideline. You have to trust your instincts. So you know your body. You know your restrictions already. So if the ingredients that I put on this recipe and some suggestions of lower anti-inflammatory foods, you know already those don't work for you, feel free to swap them out. If you say, hey, broccoli doesn't work for me, why not try cauliflower? Why not try roasted red bell peppers? Why not try bean sprouts? You can automatically swap out those vegetables. But that's the beauty of cooking, is because you are in control and you can try the things and be in control of your own diet. That's the beautiful thing about cooking. Once you be in control of your own food and control of your own diet, you be your own advocate. And that's the best part about being on your own journey with me and my transplants and hemophilia, and with you as your RSDS. That's the most important part, is being your own advocate, not only with food, but in life and in general. So what we're going to do is we're going to get started. So does anybody know the difference between why we use this and why we use this? We're going to use 4 cups of water to put into this pot. But are we going to use to fill it with this or to fill it with this? The key is you always want to measure by volume, meaning water, in this, and weight, meaning flour, in this. So don't ever use water or liquid or with this. So you always scoop flour or things with this, not with this. I've seen people do it. They think that they can interchange them out. That is not true. So in this magical pot, the one pot magical pot, I have 4 cups of water. The reason why this works is because there's so little water that the starch from the pasta is going to come out and cook and thicken the sauce. That's why this works. The more water you add, the more time it's going to take for the sauce to reduce and thicken. So the less water you add, the more faster it's going to cook and thicken. Now let's say, Mike, okay, so I'm gluten intolerant. So, okay, you can swap out. There's a lot of great alternative pastas out there. There's chickpea pastas. There's lentil pastas. There's so many gluten-free alternatives now. In Portland, actually, where I'm close to, there's a company called Bob's Red Mill. Born and raised here in Portland, they're a local company, but now they can get them nationwide. They're a nut and seed and mill company that does great alternative baking flours. So look them up. You can get them on Amazon, but there's a lot of alternative baking flours out there that you can use to either make your own pasta or substitute to have a really good quality pasta so that you don't feel left out as well. So I have the 4 cups of water in, and we're going to bring that to a boil. And I have 2 teaspoons of salt. Now, this is the biggest thing. Whenever you're cooking, you want to always season in layers. You know, I'm kind of like a season, kind of like I'm Shrek. And kind of like I'm in like an onion, kind of like peel back the layers. If you just season at the beginning and at the end, all that cooking you do during the middle, you're missing opportunities to season. That's the biggest difference between a home cook and a professional cook, is that every time that we add an ingredient to the pot, we're going to season, meaning that every layer that we add, we season, so that by the time that we get to the end, we're not going to have that much seasoning that we need to add, so it doesn't get over salted or over seasoned. It's the same thing when we're adding the pasta water. You want it to taste like, I know you know what I'm talking about. If you go to, especially not so much on the West Coast, but on the East Coast, if you go into the East Coast, the Atlantic, and you get hit by a wave, a smack in the face, like you just ate like a salt lick and you just got a big old face of water, that's what you want your pasta water to taste like. Because that's the first time you can salt and season your pasta water. So you want it to taste like the ocean, is what I was taught in culinary school. So obviously just remember that. If you, as a kid, getting hit in the face with water, that's what your pasta water should taste like. Because everything from there will be seasoned correctly. So I have 2 tablespoons in there, bringing it to a boil. Is everybody still here? I know you guys have a long, this conference is amazing. You guys are zooming, you guys are creative. It's so much fun. I'm super stoked to be here. While this is coming up to a boil, I want to show you a cool trick. Mason jar, okay? One of the coolest things that you can do. So people are like, oh, Mike, I love garlic, but I hate to peel it. If you get garlic already pre-minced in that, oil and whatever liquid that's in there, it's got fortified, for those to last till the apocalypse, till we're past and the garlic will still be there. It's fine. It's just, it loses the aromatic quality. It's still there. So I have a head of garlic that I have peeled and just took the cloves. It still has the paper on, so it's just a whole head. So I have these ready to go. Just the cloves, so that everything's on. You're going to put them inside. I don't know. I see there's a lot of, people my age, a little older, so you might get this reference. So what you're going to do is, one of my favorite movies, especially as a cook, and I've done some bartending, is Tom Cruise in Cocktail. And you're just going to give it a little shake like this. Just give it a little one of these. I always wanted to be a bartender. And what you have is, when you do that, it just penetrates the garlic, and all you're left with is the garlic without the paper. Right? Pretty cool trick. You can do that with 2 bowls. Like, they have to be the same size, obviously. You can't do one bigger and one small, because if you shake, they're going everywhere. So they have to be 2 same size metal bowls or a mason jar. So I tell you this is because if you use fresh garlic, this is kind of like an intervention. I know we're all here for a conference, but the intervention is, if someone tells you to measure garlic, you don't need that kind of negativity in your life, okay? You need to be able to Measure garlic with your heart. Garlic is heart healthy unless it causes an anti-inflammatory flare, okay? That's the only thing I will say, okay? So that's coming up to a boil. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to put in the pasta. Once it comes up to a boil, it's almost there. While that is coming up to a boil, here's another cool trick. So you're like, Mike, I hate cutting and pitting avocados. Okay, fair enough, fair enough. So I have this avocado, it's cut in half, okay? It's really, people cut themselves in avocados, they go through the pit and then go straight into their hand. The easiest thing, this is something I picked up right after culinary school, and it's going viral right now on the internet. But you take the back and you pinch, and all you do is you pinch out the back, and it pops it out just like that. Super simple, great little hack, and it saves you time. Now, you take a cooling rack, like you put your brownies or your cookies on. You take just a little simple rack on the outside. You flip the avocado upside down, and you press. So what you're doing is you're leaving the skin on top, and you're pressing the avocado through, and you're dicing it through it. So if you're making guacamole and you don't want to cut the avocado or peel it out, boom, there's your cut up avocado, and then you just do the same thing for your tomatoes. Oh, Mike, what about I love egg salad? Huh, look at this. I just have a hard-boiled egg. Oh, thanks, Joe, for Food Network. I appreciate it. That was really me. I just did it myself. I'm on a low-quality Food Network budget here, people. Come on. The same thing. You're going to take it, and you're going to push it through. I taught this trick to my mom, and she will just make hard-boiled eggs for my dad, who doesn't even like them, just so she can do the trick for him, so she gets egg salad. That's literally what she does. It's like a trick, so she shows like her neighbors. It's like a bar trick, and I was like, Mom, you don't go to bars, so it's like the coolest thing she does. I was like, so I can't burst her bubble. So I hope that's a cool little trick that you can take and show people. Okay, so the water is boiling. Now I'm going to add in the pasta. I love the shells. You can put in any type. You can use macaroni. You can use stracciatella, which are the little ears that twist. You use cavatappi, the little corkscrew. But come on, let's be honest. When they cook, you all do it. We put it on your nose, but they soak up the sauce. They're like little cups, So I have 1 pound of pasta that goes in. And listen, it's not going to get covered. And if you're cooking with gas, like I am, so I'm at my parents' house because my electric stove is horrible. But if you're cooking with gas, like I am, don't be worried that it's not getting covered. The water will keep cooking it, and everything will continue to cook. So the pasta goes in. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to continue to cook that for 4 minutes. So like I said, growing up having hemophilia, it's been, a journey, just like all of you have. That's the beautiful thing about the communities. Even though we have different disorders and illnesses, we still have unique and beautiful stories to tell. That's why I love doing this, is because even if we have we grew up differently, we can still find similarities in the fact that, oh, hey, I have arthritis in my foot because of the pain management that I went through, or the pain meds that I was put on caused these side effects. And now I have different side effects that I have to take meds for that counteract those side effects. It's like a domino effect. But we are stronger together. And that's what I love about these demos, is because I was struggling really, really bad during the pandemic because of not being able to go out, and being immunocompromised. And it hit me really hard. And being able to do this, and especially be here with you tonight, really fills my bucket, being able to not only do something that I love because life's too short, but be able to give back and be able to teach someone a life skill, that they can learn, that's winning the lottery to me. These recipes are things that I call like chopped pantry, baskets, kind of things that you would have in your pantry, but then incorporating fresh ingredients as well. Because it doesn't take a lot to cook delicious food. It's just knowing the right order and ingredients to cook with, and using the ingredients that are not going to cause a flare in your body. So for me, I know specifically that with the broccoli and things, like I use a lot of like nuts and things because of the antioxidants and the oils, because they're heart healthy and things. So, and like dried cranberries, and those have lots of good antioxidants and low, what's the word? Low impact on my cholesterol and things like that. So it's finding those things that can work for you in your diet that you still love. That's the thing. I hate the word diet. When you immediately think diet, you're like, oh my gosh, like I can't eat those things anymore. No, it's everything in moderation, and finding the things that you can eat and still enjoy, just in moderation, and just not as much, and maybe those in moderation too, just like life, Whoa, got a runaway noodle.
Uh-oh. I'll pop back on because we have a few questions from warriors who, of course, have CRPS, but then some people have questions about gluten-free. I know you said you don't like the word diets, but kind of adjusting when it comes to gluten-free or celiac. So what are some, I guess, like good substitutions, or even a way that someone could make this recipe if they are gluten-free or they have celiac?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there's a lot of good substitutes. I've tried a lot of the substitutes, back in the 90s, the products weren't that great, and people who had celiacs even weren't getting diagnosed. My sister, they just thought that she needed to change her diet, and she was all in her head, but now she got diagnosed, and so she actually can get the help that she needs. But just swapping up things that are reading labels, being able to look at the labels to try to find, because they sneak it in on you. And I love using like the lentil pastas, because the lentils, when they're cooked, still retain their texture. So like pasta, the reason you love pasta is because it's carb, and carb has flour, carb has gluten. Gluten is the chew that you like. Lentils, if you cook them per the box, per al dente, meaning to the bite, that lentils keep their bite just like almost, it is alternative in the sense, but it's very similar in the texture and the taste to a wheat noodle. So I would look into a lentil pasta, or even right now my fiance is in a chickpea pasta that is really good, because it really pairs well in like the Middle Eastern food. So if you like hummus and lots of different, like roasted red peppers and cucumbers and calamatas and things like that, you can really make a nice salad with it too. But I would definitely try out the lentil pasta first and see what you think. That's a great question. Keep them coming. All right, so we have the pasta going in. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add in the broccoli, just cut up. I love broccoli. If you can't do broccoli and it causes a flare, you could do in carrots, you could do roasted red bell peppers, you could do cauliflower. You know, there's really lots of different vegetables that you could add. It's just about adding that color. But basically, anything, if you think about it, the lower anti-inflammatory, it's basically like eating your greens. So like the kale, it's like eating the rainbow basically. If the more color you have on your plate, avoiding like the starchy stuff, you know, like the potatoes, the tomatoes, the things with high in potassium, those types of things are going to be able to cause more of an inflammation. So lower potassium, lower starch level is going to keep your flares at bay to help you not get at the least amount of risk of causing a flare. Right. And then what we're going to do is we're going to stir. I used heavy cream, but you can use coconut milk. You can use alternative milks, like if you're lactose intolerant, you can use almond milk, soy milk. They make hemp milk. So there's a lot of different ones that you can even use, like vegan cheeses. There's a lot of good ones. Goya makes a really good one. Daya makes a really good one. So, and a lot of good companies are making really good artisan cheeses that are dairy and vegan. So really check out your local grocery store. So I'm going to add in a 3/4 cup of cream, or you could use water or even milk. And then to thicken, they make a vegan version of cream cheese. I have 4 ounces or 3 ounces, sorry, of cream cheese. This is going to be the thickener. This is going to kind of bind or thicken your sauce so it doesn't allow it to break, because we don't have any roux or anything. Roux is just like equal parts fat and flour. But you could easily make this gluten-free by using like cornstarch or potato starch or xanthan gum. Xanthan gum is another thickener that is not derived from flour. So it's derived from seaweed. It doesn't taste like seaweed at all. It's just derived from that plant. Now, if you know, you got to put in the carrots. Broccoli cheddar has a little bit of carrots in there. And then going to add in a tablespoon of Dijon mustard. The cool trick about Dijon is it also acts as a thickener. And if you're ever baking and you need to put in like maple syrup or honey, you just want to give the spoon an actual spritz of nonstick spray, or and it'll come right out. So that's a good little trick that you can put in as well. I really hope all of you make this recipe, because it's an easy weeknight meal that allows for people to get dinner on the table. And if you go to Costco, or I've heard there's a cult following this market in Florida. It's called Publix. They make really good sandwiches. I've yet to go down there, but you can get like a rotisserie chicken and just add that into the mac and cheese. There's so many options. You know, you could add in diced carrots. You know, obviously you look at me and think pork products. I don't know why. It's just I probably, smell like bacon. I don't know if this is on. I have no idea anymore. But you could add anything. You could add in shrimp. You could add in pork. You could add in chicken, anything. You could add in peas. You could add in, snow peas, anything you wanted to. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add in the cheese slowly. Does anybody know why we would add in the cheese slowly? It's a sin. It's so it doesn't clump. Clumping leads to burning on the bottom of the pan. So you want to sprinkle it from like the heavens above. I know, Jim, you want to be underneath my hands right now, just getting cheese wasted. I know you do. You're just going to stir in the cheese. Nice and slow. And you're going to turn the heat down to low because you don't want all that beautiful cheese to burn. Oh, do you see this? Do you see the gooiness? I know you can see it from there. Oh, yeah. You know what? You know, Alexis, I should have told you. You should have paid your subscription to Smell-O-Vision because it smells so good in here. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I definitely messed up with that one. But I will tell you that everyone here in the chat is very, very jealous if they are not cooking along.
Oh, creamy, dreamy. Man, oh man, oh man. Now, the cheese is in. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add in all of the seasonings. So we're going to add in, I'm going to add in a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne. I feel if you're not sweating a little bit, you're not eating right. But if you have a sensitivity, or if you don't like heat, you can just leave it out or just add in more black pepper, okay? So I'm going to add in just a little bit of cayenne pepper. And then I'm going to add in, I'm going to go add in a teaspoon of onion powder. Teaspoon of garlic powder. I know you guys are like, what? He's a cook and he's measuring. I know, this is the most measuring you're ever going to see of me, and I don't want to hear anything about it. And then some pepper. Now, if you need to, I'm going to add a little bit more cream just to thin it out because it's a little thick. The recipe calls for you can add water or cream or whatever you're using. So I'm just going to continue to stir a little bit. All right, now the one big thing is to make it even luxurious. You know, when you go to a restaurant, so if I'm in a restaurant right now, the biggest thing is I have salt and pepper right here on my station. But the biggest thing, and you can always tell, is when your food comes to the table, it's always glistening. Does anybody know why it's glistening? Always. This always happens. Because there's a big 6-pan, meaning 6 of them fit in one big pan of this right here, butter. So butter makes I went to a French culinary school. Butter and cream makes everything better. So at the end of any of your meals, so that's why if you're trying to lose weight, you can tell the wait staff, can you please not oversalt or can you not add butter to finish my dish? You can tell them that and they'll be like, yes, I will tell them, because that's what they do because butter makes everything better. So because we're making everything better, we're going to add a little bit of butter, and it's going to make it glisten. All right, the last thing, this right here. I know you guys know what this is because I have been using this to shove food in my face hole since I was a newborn. It's a spoon. You have to taste. You taste and you taste and you taste. If you don't know what it tastes like and you serve it to your guests, how do you know? You need to taste. Taste the sauce, taste the broccoli, taste everything. You need to taste and you need to keep tasting. Like everywhere on stations throughout our kitchens and in culinary school, there would be plastic spoons just sitting everywhere. And while we're cooking, the chefs would come around and they would sit and they would taste the sauce and they'd be like, more garlic, more salt, more lemon. And you would, yes, chef, yes, chef, yes, chef. And you would just do it and you would move on. And then you would plate and serve up for the guests, for the waitress to come bring you your food. And that wasn't a bad thing. Like that's how they critique. That's how you learn how you get better. So always keep excuse me. That's always how you keep tasting, keep learning, keep adapting. So since Alexis didn't pay her subscription to Tasty Vision as well, I guess I have to take one for the team for you guys. Okay. I know I don't like to do this for, but I just, got it. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know if you guys are going to like this or not.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I said, I'm sorry, I think I ruined it for everyone. Because if I didn't turn my subscription on, everyone else didn't either. Oh my gosh, I'm getting so hungry late night.
I know, it's brutal. Like, I think this is the fourth meal that he was talking about. You got to get the fourth meal, the train. You got to get the RSDSA Express coming your way.
There you go. Definitely. Oh my gosh. Well, we have definitely been listening, and there's been a couple questions. I know I popped in with a few, but
of course,
here's someone who just asked, how much does this recipe make, and can you freeze it?
That's a great question. So the question for how much does it make? How hungry are you?
There you go.
You want the whole pot? But in all honesty, it makes 5 servings of at least 6 ounces per serving. And it does freeze. But if you're going to freeze it, I would make the noodles and put them in a bag separately and then freeze the sauce and then add them together the night of the dinner. Because so your noodles don't get mushy.
Pro tip. All righty. All right. People are like, oh yeah, let me share the recipe. All right, so you did mention a few foods that we should avoid if we, don't want to flare. Can you just remind, I think someone just wanted to maybe write a few of them down, some foods that basically people should avoid if they are trying to have a low or anti-inflammatory diet?
Yeah. So, and I can even touch more. So like red meats are higher, gives you even more uric acid with the crystals. For like gout and even having the flare in that regard, but anything that is higher in potassium, so potatoes, tomatoes, and even but eating more of the rainbow, so the shards, the Swiss shards, the collard greens, the kales, all those things, those are gonna decrease your chances of getting an event.
What questions do you have, Jim?
I just, when can he come back?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what are you doing tomorrow?
Mike, you are good. You should be on TV.
You know what? I actually just applied to be on Chopped.
All right.
Oh wow,
Wonderful.
keep us posted.
I
I'm
will
not sure
do
how it
that.
works.
I will do that because I can't be contained in this little box right here. I need a bigger box.
That's why we had to hide from the stage. I want to make sure everyone could see your kitchen.
Thank you. Next time I'm getting like a 72-inch flat screen. I don't think that'll make it bigger.
Alrighty, yes, definitely keep us posted. I'm not sure how Chopped works, if there's voting, but just keep us posted so we can
I will
definitely
definitely. It's very rigorous. I've had a lot of Portland chef friends that have gone on, and so I know the whole process, and it's definitely I'll be keeping my fingers crossed, and I am super excited, and and the best part is one of the things that even though I've gone through everything I've gone through, and even though everybody in this room that is in this call right now has gone through what they're gone through, I'm still achieving my goals. I'm still doing the things I want to do. I didn't think it was possible to find love as a hemophiliac and double transplant, but I get married next month on October 24th. So I am truly living my encore because of everything I've gone through. So don't give up, and it's possible. If people say no, you say hell yeah, and you knock down doors. That's what living with making your disability an ability. That's what it's all about.
So, Mike, we're definitely getting you again, even before the next virtual conference. We'll talk about it, and maybe in the spring we'll do it.
I love it. That sounds fantastic. I'm just so grateful to be part of it, and I mean just to see the look on everybody's faces, including the kids. I mean, it's just it's a reminder that even everything that I'm going through, that to have grace with myself and to remind myself that there's other people going through worse things, to remind myself that it could always be worse, and to just have gratitude.
There you go. I think we have one more question. Someone asked, will you create a cookbook, or do you have a cookbook already?
I'm in the process. I'm in the process of telling my story through cooking, and writing a cookbook of kind of my story through food, but then putting it out there. And so it's coming. It's still, I've been working on it since culinary school, so it's it takes forever, but it's there. It's happening.
Well, definitely keep us posted. Well, all right, everyone. So thank you once again to Chef Mike for this definitely interactive session. If you were able to create this delicious dish, please take a picture and send it to us on social media, because we would love to see it. And I will make sure that I reshare the recipe for anyone who missed it, because I definitely have someone who's asking, hey, I need this recipe.